Classic TV and movie fans, Rick Nineg here. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to talk about How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is a 1966 TV movie which didn't last too long. It only lasted about 20 or so minutes, only 26 minutes, and it was one of the beloved cartoons of the day. I don't know if many of you have seen it, maybe as a little child or growing up, or maybe just saw it yesterday like I did. But let me tell you, I'm so happy that I did. I'm sure you really love it because it is such a good movie. I want to talk about some amazing, awesome facts of this movie. You'll be mind blown because I didn't know some of these things, and once I learned them, I was just blown away. And I found out some really cool and fun things myself I think you're going to absolutely love and be blown away with. I was blown away when I noticed watching it. So let's get right to it. Looking at the story, it's Christmas Eve. Everyone in Whoville is looking forward to tomorrow, the big day of Christmas. Everyone, that is, except the Grinch, who absolutely hates Christmas. He can't stand to see people excited over the holiday. So what does he decide to do? He decides to ruin Christmas for the people of Whoville by stealing all their presents, all their decorations, and all the Christmas goodies. But something really awesome happens in the movie, and that is he has a change of heart. In fact, his heart grows 3 sizes. Everything gets returned back to the people of Whoville. They all basically enjoy themselves, they all celebrate, and even the Grinch partakes with them. What's really cool about this movie is that even though it's a cartoon, there's a lot of meaningful things in it. Amongst one of them, if you notice, throughout most of the movie, the Grinch's eyes are red. It symbolizes his anger, his dislike, and his distaste and hatred for Christmas and the people of Whoville. But then when he has that moment of conversion, his eyes go from red to blue, and they remain blue for the rest of the movie. This is when his heart changes for the better. What's also interesting is that beginning of the movie, with the opening credits, the whole background is blue. Essentially, that's how the movie ends. His eyes turn blue and the movie begins in blue. Essentially, that's the goal for the Grinch, to have goodness, to have just joy for everyone and not the hatred that he had in his heart. Now, the only person who is really credited in this movie is Boris Karloff. Now, Boris Karloff, of course, played the titular character, the monster, in the movie Frankenstein. I mean, who else to make and have an impactful voice to voice the Grinch than Mr. Karloff himself? He was so good. He was the narrator, and then he was also the voice of the Grinch. Now, his voice changes when he speaks for the Grinch. Now, he spoke in his normal narrator voice throughout the movie, but after they recorded everything and it was finished and complete, the highs in his voice were mechanically removed for the Grinch character. So it gave him this gravelly voice that's heard in the final version. Now, the person who sings the song, "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," that man is Thurl Ravenscroft. Now, you may have heard of his name. He is the voice of Tony the Tiger. They're great. You know what I'm talking about, right? Now, he sang the song, and it's really cool to know that he was picked to sing the songs because his voice was an extremely deep bass. Unfortunately, he received no screen credit for his singing. That's an oversight by Dr. Seuss, who penned this whole thing and had reins over this project. Now, he attempted to fix this. It was utterly a mistake by sending letters to every major columnist in America identifying Ravenscroft as a singer of the song. Now, going back to the opening credits, you'll see that this movie is produced by Chuck Jones, of course, the man who is behind Bugs Bunny and all the Warner Brothers projects that we know and love, but also Ted Geisel. Ted Geisel, also known as Theodore Geisel, yeah, the real name of Dr. Seuss. And so that's really cool that in one part it says in the credits that this is inspired by Dr. Seuss, but then the other part that is produced by Ted Geisel. So I think that's really, really cool. It's a really interesting little detail that they left in this movie. Now, Dr. Seuss disputed and didn't want Boris Karloff originally for the voice of the narrator and the Grinch because he feared that it would make the Grinch too scary, and he didn't want this to be too scary because it was, of course, a kids movie. But it's good to know that he was wrong. He was used, and Boris Karloff was simply amazing in this casting. It is so good. Now, Dr. Seuss also wrote all the lyrics to all the songs in this movie, which is great. And he didn't really want to animate any of his books, but Chuck Jones, the guy behind Warner Brothers, as I mentioned, managed to persuade him. Now, as I mentioned, this movie was only about a half an hour. It took 10 months to make this movie, that is drawing every scene and so forth, and they needed 25,000, yeah, that's right, 25,000 drawings to complete every single part of this movie. That's simply amazing. So much work went into this. Now, we all know and love the cute Cindy Lou Who in this movie. Now, she was modeled after Chuck Jones' own granddaughter, Valerie. Now, many people don't know this, but June Foray was the voice of Cindy Lou Who. Now, she was one of the individuals who voiced Granny in Warner Brothers, so I'm sure that Chuck Jones brought her in, but also Bea Benaderet also played Granny, so there were two actresses who played that character. And finally, if you want to know the uncredited voice of Max, that's Doll McKinnon. I'm really excited to listen to all your thoughts on this movie. Do you love it? Do you watch it every Christmas? Maybe it's time that you watch it for the end of 2022. What did you think when you first saw it? And I mean, this is a guilty pleasure to watch this movie. I would watch this, show it to my future kids. I mean, it is so much fun to watch. So pure, so innocent, and just funny in general. With Max and the Grinch, they make an amazing pair. I absolutely love it. What's your favorite part of the movie? And did you know any of these facts? And maybe did I leave any out? Feel free to put them in the comments below. We'll see you all next time. Thank you so much for supporting what I do, and most importantly, be hopeful. Thank you so much to my supporters, especially my Diamond Tier patrons: Vito L, Sally N, Ricky, Kevin K, Gerard D, David D, and Citizen Kane 359. If you want your name to be heard or put on this list, make sure to check out the Patreon link in the description. Thank you so much.